Isolated, evades the bidding attempt of Felix Laurent. Now Segal. Segal has a very open Eric Zhang. Is going to find him in the reset space instead. These are the top two seeds in the bracket, clashing here for a spot at Div 1. Ojin Lee. Inside shot's going to hang, but Zhu is there. Alfred Zhu looking like he was thinking hammer. But he's going to reset it to Segal. Segal marked by Adam Leonard. And that throw not going to be brought in by Zhu. First turnover for the Tula O-line. Their first offensive point was clean. Adam Leonard going to walk it back to the orange marker, dropped by one of the observers there. Mateo Papadimitriou, Origine product. Quebec City, playing for the Sherbrooke side now. Everything kind of tough underneath for the Sherbrooke side right now. Back to Raphael Cloutier. It's now Laurent. What are you seeing right now, Sanjay, from this Toronto defense that's kind of making things difficult for Sherbrooke?
Tula's doing a good job of taking away the under, and the only option Sherbrooke really has is to shoot it. And they're being really patient with the disc, not looking for those big options. But as we know from the previous game, that's how Waterloo got the most traction against Tula. So if Sherbrooke's patient and can score, great. But if they are patient and they turn it over, then they're just playing right into Tula's hands. We got a pick in the middle of the field and a turnover. We'll see if that comes back. Nope, that's a turnover. Yeah, so that's the patience of that Tula defense. They are confident that any of their guys are fast enough to make up that deep shot, and they just want to take away the under. After Zhu picking up here.
Zhu playing for Grand Trunk along with Dave Ramsey. Ramsey was the one who was on the receiving end of that first throw from Segal, who has the disc now. Segal power position, ripping this, looking for Zhu. That throw's hanging. And will be taken down there by Maxime Jerome.
I really thought David Ramsey was going to catch up there.
Yeah, you did. So did I. And we were told Jerome is a player to watch out for. Played for Titan for many years. Keep an eye out for number 68 in green. He is someone you might want to watch out for in the next few years. That's the word on the street there, Sanjay. Nice grab there, Mathieu Roy.
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
and not a great bid there. That was Ojin Lee taking out the legs of the Sherbrooke player there, and Mateo Papadimitriou. See if there's going to be a card given out by Linda Kudo.
Speaking to some of the observers before the game, I was asking what the difference that the observers find between senior and university. And they say at university, you'll get more reckless plays, more dangerous plays, but also better spirit. The university students will immediately apologize and recognize that they did wrong right after. Whereas at seniors, sometimes you get players who are a bit more stuck in their ways. So that was a dangerous play, but he also recognized it immediately. Observers just resetting here on the field.
I believe there is going to be a card given out. So Michael Kukushka, the coach of Tula, not happy with that one, but looked like a late bid or a bid that took out the legs, I will say. It wasn't a late bid per se, but the bid did take out the legs.
For the fans at home, what does a yellow card mean in a game like this?
It's a personal misconduct foul there, Sanjay. So you get 2 and you're out, is that right?
That's what I believe, and I think it's not just out for the game, but out for the tournament.
Yeah, we
both know the rules.
We both got to clarify that for the fans at home. Great grab under pressure there that was Jerome. I told you, watch out for him. Some more legs getting tangled up, but no stoppage. Cloutier. This is a Sherbrooke defensive point if you're just joining us. Vigneault Lecomte. He's trying to get someone open. Instead, it's going to be a reset. Laurent going to call the timeout. Now, I'm going to ask our resident analyst here, Sanjay, do you like the timeout call here? It's only 1-all.
I think, so we know that teams get 2 timeouts per half. So that's a lot of timeouts in what is a pretty short game. What
80
we
minutes, yeah.
also know is that Sherbrooke came into this game knowing that their offense was pretty solid. They're not going to turn over a whole lot. They're going to be solid. And if they're going to win this game, it's going to come down to that D-line. Sometimes this D-line has a habit of making silly mistakes, getting that disc, and then turning it over too quickly. I think I've liked what I've seen so far in their capacity to keep that disc. But if they want to make that call and just be like, hey, we're in the middle of the field, let's set up, let's keep that disc, and let's make sure we punch this through and get an early break. I love that call. And what I also like is, I think you and I are on the same page here. Sometimes teams call timeouts when they're in the final third and they're into transition, and it gives the defense time to set up. The Tula defense was set up already. This is just giving the Sherbrooke offense a time to calm down, make sure they know their game plan.
And what's at stake for this Sherbrooke side? Rocking the matching, kind of green yellowish hats here. Very Team Japan style, because if you watch Team Japan, they all wear the same hats. They got the sunny G's on, the long sleeves. They try to make it so it's harder to scout. I think that's part of it. But for Sherbrooke, this would be the first time, if they were able to qualify, that they would have done so in 3 consecutive years. They came 7th last year and 5th in 2023. So certainly a legacy piece for Sherbrooke at play here, on top of just getting a Div 1 bid this season.
That's right. They were in Div 1 in both 2014 and 2015. Then they took a little bit of a break, and then they came back in 2019, where they came 6th. So, it's a prestigious club. It's tough to get Div 1. It just shows how difficult it is to really get to that top level.
And if you can't win it at the Quebec Qualifier because McGill's standing in your way, you got to do it the last chance here on Fridays. Did that last year as well. Figno Lecomte evading the hands of Spagnolo, going across the field. And it's going to be caught for the score. Sherbrooke, number 69, Jeremy Mainville-Gamache.
First break of the game, really important break. I think Tula gave the defense away a couple times there. They would throw it away. It wasn't so much Sherbrooke earning that D as it was Tula throwing it away. But what I really liked was the defense had the disc. They called a timeout. They came back in. They worked it around, easy throws, and then they saw the opening. A great cross-field throw, totally open to 2 Sherbrooke players. There's not a Tula guy in sight.
Yeah, there was not 1 but 2. You're absolutely right that were open.
I see CUUC walking to that Tula O-line. If you're CUUC, Theo, what are you saying to that line?
And for the fans at home who might not know him by his name, who is CUUC?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Michael Kukevska, commonly known to as CUUC in the local ultimate scene. He's been coaching for years. He coached Boat. He coached Rush. He's coached, I think, Goat. He's been around everywhere.
And so he is, he's speaking to the line, and certainly I don't think you need to change much if you're Toronto. I think they've tried to look a couple deep shots, right? One was taken away. There was the poach in the back there, and so let's see if they try to reel it in. It's going to be a similar grouping here for this Toronto side. Ojin Lee back on the field. I took an injury sub on the previous point. And certainly knowing what they know of what happened against Waterloo, they believe that they can come back. We saw that earlier with the Sherbrooke women's team. They were down 6-3. Alexi Waugh going to draw the Segal matchup. Cecil Chung finding Eric Zhang. Zhang now over to Segal. Segal, nice around, smooth throw over to Cecil Chung. Cecil Chung coming out from Hong Kong, so maybe some Hong Kong fans watching in the audience.
Arav's footwork, given his age, is really something else. Just watching him create space, both when he has the disc and without, is something that any viewer can take lessons from.
And he's been shooting it deep, Segal has, and he's looking into the end zone for Zhang, and that will work out. Second assist for Arav Segal.
Great offensive point there by Tula. What I really liked is how versatile that line was. We had several different Tula players coming back into that handler space, spreading out, striking, and that makes it really hard for the defenders to know exactly where your mark's going to go.
And Waugh was drawing the matchup. He's got the length to make things difficult, the Sherbrooke player number 72. So he's going to try to continue to provide a lengthy matchup for Segal. He's also played, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, Sanjay, but he's also played for Ascension, so that's a club team. out of Sherbrooke. They play in the Canadian Series, but also they delve into some U.S. tournaments, so get some good experience there.
Look, the coaches of Sherbrooke know that one of the keys to this game is shutting down Rav. And at the end of the day, you're not going to completely prevent him from punching the disc. So it's really about what's the point of what are you trying to take away? What are you trying to make hard for him? What's the things that you think he's worst at that you think you can give him?
Yeah, Segal gonna play a big role, but Vigneault Lecomte in the same way. Toronto's definitely gonna have to keep an eye on him because he's been slinging the rock. He has a goal and assist already. The 2 points for Sherbrooke, and it looks like an offside is called. And Sherbrooke will get the disc in better position because of that.
You don't see a lot of offside calls at this level.
And for some of these players, they might not be used to playing up with observers either, right? Sanjay, that's a big one. Some of them, obviously, if they play club, they would, but those who haven't would not be used to this.
Well, as we've talked about, Theo, a lot of these players do play club.
Yeah, so they should know. They should know. Nice find to Elliot Christian. Christian playing for the U20 side a couple years ago. Same thing with Adam Leonard. Christian also playing with Manic out of Montreal. Vigneault Lecomte. Christian, little move finding into the end zone. Put him in space, number 22, getting that score. I already mentioned he played for Team Canada. You see why.
Great point there by Elliot Christian. Really great footwork in such a tight space to create so much opening. Makes the throw easy for the offense.
Got a player just juking and jiving in that open side space. As a handler defender, you know you got to take away that spot. Make them throw that around, maybe go around the horn, but certainly you don't want them to jam it up into that open side, especially in that real tight area.
Tough for Tula defense, too. They were in the exact same position the last time Sherbrooke scored, and Sherbrooke broke the mark and threw it across the field. So you know the defense has to take away the around. That way, the mark has to take away the around, and so you know whoever is on the defense with the other field, the number one goal has to be able to take it upfield because you know the mark isn't going to be able to help you at all there.
Christian getting free here and not going to be on the field as we see kind of a new defensive grouping for this Sherbrooke side. Adam Leonard set to pull once again for them. Sherbrooke has a lot of tall players as we look on the defensive side of the field, and so trying to provide a threat into the deep space here. Spinning around with the pull is Adam Leonard. Spagnuolo set to receive for Toronto and centering to Segal. Horizontal stack look here for Toronto as Sherbrooke comes out in a zone look. Zhang finding Segal. Felix Laurent out there kind of on the mark along with Hainaut.
For Sherbrooke, I'm not sure it feels like any one player's teams. They have their Elliot Christians. They have their David Vigneault-Lecomte. But it really does feel like this is Arav Segal's team on Tula. It really feels like he's deciding what goes. All the Tula guys, it feels like they know that they have him as a release if they need him, you know?
And that allows you to be calmer as a team, perhaps. There's two ways to look at it, right? Because one team, hey, you rely on the depth a little bit more. You have a couple pieces that you look towards. Not that other pieces can't contribute to Segal or to Tula's success, but Segal definitely stirring that drink here. Is a nice inside throw. Adam Mong finding Alfred Zhu. So Segal not on the stat sheet there. So, hey, Tula showing, hey, we got other people involved.
Sometimes the stat sheet doesn't show everything. So are you watching the game, or are you just looking at the stats, as they say, you know?
Hey, sometimes there's a secondary assist is actually sometimes more important, which is to your point, because sometimes the huck goes up, and the person who gets the assist is the one who didn't milk it into the end zone, right? So Adam Mong with the assist, finding Alfred Zhu.
It's been a game of holds except for that one break by Sherbrooke so far. Tula needs to make a break at some point. Their coach would be hoping that'll happen before halftime. But otherwise, it's a pretty fast game. Not too many long points at this point.
Yeah, a little bit of contrast to the game we had earlier, and perhaps I think one factor would be the weather has warmed up a little bit. Not as well. There's no rain now. There was rain before, so certainly conditions going to play a factor. Sanjay, you're rocking the official CUUC here of the tournament, and you're staying warm out here. But these players, they already came off a game and they didn't get a bye like the women's A bracket final. They had a whole time slot of a bye. Both of these teams had to hustle from field 7 and 8, running through onto the showcase field, so they're kind of just going right into it.
And we talked about before, Tula came from a universe point game. Sherbrooke had an easier game before this. So we'll have to see if Tula tires as this game goes on and if that affects the result at all.
Fournier with the disc. Trying to isolate Blanchette. Xavier Blanchette now looking for Christian. Was going to have to get up, but it's slapped away by Gomez. So a turnover from this offensive line. David Young finding a reset to Cecil Chung. Chung wants it every other right now. He wants the disc. He wants the rock. Kimmy Zhang dealing with it under pressure. Cecil Chung trying to settle things down. Going hammer. Oh. Looking for Sushant Patel.
You saw Sushant think about going for the bid there. That would have been a crazy play. Even Coach CUUC on the sideline was like, I don't know if you should have gone for that. Maybe a risky decision there. I like the hammer to the break side. I don't see it enough at University Series, but that execution was maybe the reason why.
Yeah, we need a camera on the coaches just exclusively right now. Blanchette, power position. Had Christian going deep, but Gomez had the block earlier, so instead it's an underneath to O'Connor. Now it's Christian. And Blanchette scooping that one up, or I should say just reaching out with his right hand. Christian. Looking for William Moran, and that will work out. Christian getting an assist there. 4-3 Sherbrooke.
We know that Sherbrooke only had one break in their last game. Tula's showing that they can get the disc off of Sherbrooke. Now it's just a point of, can they convert?
Yeah, Sherbrooke has the one break so far. That's the only defensive point that's been scored. You mentioned that. And this Sherbrooke team, they've beaten Laval, a team that's very strong as well. This year, they also dropped a game to them as well, coming third in that prep tournament before coming second at the Quebec qualifiers. Mentioned that matchup with McGill earlier. It was a round-robin showdown at that tournament, so they didn't really get a chance for a final or anything like that. But this team is battle-tested. We mentioned the streak they're going for. And so right now, they don't show like they are the top seed in this bracket, and they're kind of showing that. They're exuding a lot of confidence right now.
I mean, I would be confident if I had hat and pants like they do, to be honest.
Yeah, the swag is top tier right now from Sherbrooke. I love the matching hats. You don't see it enough.
Well, you have to wonder, some people aren't hat people. So were they sacrificing their design to not wear a hat just for the team vibe? That's a big sacrifice.
That is true. I mean, I don't know if you know this. This was like over 10 years ago at the club championships, but Sub-Zero had leggings, okay? Hear me out. Leggings with the Sub-Zero logo and number, and that's no shorts over top, and all the players wore them. I guarantee you some players did not want that.
That's commitment. That's commitment to the team.
Ramsey going deep again, but it's resetting with Spagnolo and Segal. Ojin Lee going to the deep space, chased by Cloutier, 19 versus 19. But instead it's Zhu making a big layout grab to keep possession for Toronto. Inside throw to Segal. Finding Ramsey. How about Dimitriou drawing that Segal matchup, and Segal just kind of going every other right now. Ramsey looking for Lee. And a travel will be called. Travel will be called there by Papa Dimitriou.
We've talked about the height of Sherbrooke, and they are a tall team. In fact, I'd probably say they're taller than Tula. What Tula has, I think, going into advantage this game is they are very, very fast. And I don't know if Sherbrooke's trying to play off of them because they don't want to get beat, or if they're struggling to keep up with that speed. But just then we saw there were a couple players who just, Sherbrooke were at least a foot or two behind, and it didn't look like they were close enough to make that play.
Ramsey talking with the head observer of this tournament, Linda Kudo. And you normally see 4 observers for like a final. I guess this is the A bracket final, so they are doing that. But they're bringing out the full stops here. 4 Team Orange members, Sanjay. We love that.
The observatory is empty right now. I can tell you that.
Yeah, hey, I'm going back to the observatory for snacks later. They got the
good
biggest
stuff.
They got the good stuff. I'm just saying. Hey, players, you can't go in there, but us commentators, we can. Here, Ramsey back as we turn our eyes back to the action. Ramsey, not in.
His toes.
Toes in, but not in the end zone. And he'll squeeze it into Segal.
You know what goes well with good footwork, Theo? Good head work. Arav, if you rewind the video just there, Arav looked like he was clear. Segal, thank you, Theo. Segal looked like he was clearing out. He looked like he didn't even want the disc, and then he quick turn of the head, quick change of the direction, and there he is. Easy point for David Ramsey to dish it off. And David Ramsey is a very experienced player. He's been playing the sport at a high level for a long time. He knows exactly what his handlers want.
And I watched him grow. I actually saw him when he first started on Tula and has matured into the player that he is. Played for Hound, now he's playing for Grand Trunk here. So good to see the ascension, you know, pun intended, as Sherbrooke has a lot of those players. See the ascension of a player like that, and certainly we see that on both sides, right? Like having some U20 players. We've already highlighted Christian and Leonard. They bring that experience over to this team, and you see that with Segal bringing the calming influence. I think having a couple U20 players on the Sherbrooke side does the same thing. Hey, they played on the big stage, and we know what they can do. And we know they've been in big moments. That's the other thing as well.
Theo, we know that this is a timed game. It's 80 minutes long. When does half happen?
Well, normally it's to 8, but sometimes it gets time capped here. So we'll keep our eyes as this deep shot going up. David Deschambault trying to get there, and he's going to bring it in. The tallest player probably on the field, finding Xavier Blanchette. So, hey, you throw it up to your tall height, you're going to bring it down. Deschambault, I think he is the tallest player on the field. He's got to be.
Deschambault is definitely the tallest on the field. And I love the swagger he walked off. He dished the assist and started celebrating even before he scored that. Really impressive. I guess that's the confidence you have going into this team.
Offensive line coming back out on the field for Toronto here. See what the defensive line decides to draw up here for Sherbrooke. Halftime cap's going to go on at 2:55, so we'll keep you posted. That's 10 minutes from now, local time. And we'll keep you posted on what the score is going to go to. We'll see if these teams can get to 8. Right now it's 5-4, and the points have been relatively quick, in my opinion, and a lot of fast action here. Only one break to speak of so far.
We had some Sherbrooke players. That's Gabriel Potvin and Victor Fye waving to the camera. I don't know if the camera caught that just now. Just saying hi to the fans at home.
Hey,
So
Fye's rocking the full tracksuit. You can't see it right now, but Sanjay, he's rocking the real swag right now.
That's a big move by him. Honestly, a lot of respect to
Tucked
Fye.
in tracksuit with the socks as well. Just real swag exuded.
You have to remember, Theo, we are in Brampton right now. That's just next door to teams like Tula, but it's quite a journey to a team like Sherbrooke coming all the way from Quebec.
Yeah, so if you're going to come all this way, you got to look good doing so. Ramsey going high for that one, 2-hand strong. And continuing to the open side to Ojin Lee. Segal going to the open side. That's too easy for Toronto right now. Just everything down the open side there. Lee finding Segal.
Really fast O point. And we were talking earlier about Theo, about how Rav doesn't always show up on the score sheet. He just got the last 2 goals. That's what I want from my handler in a game like this, just taking over.
Yeah, and we talked about that universe point. They started on defense, forced a turnover. Waterloo was a layout away. You saw it with your own very eyes, Sanjay. A real close layout away from winning this game. They would have been here in this spot. Instead, it's Toronto. They work it up the field. There was a cross-field shot to get the win. A calculated risk, but a risky shot nonetheless. That brought them here to this point right now, and they're hoping to carry that over into a Division I bid. They came last year, if you remember, they were the 1 seed, tumbled all the way down to 8th. So they came in as the 1 spot tumbled down to 8th. Certainly not what you want to see, but hey, they've learned from that and trying to get back there this time around as they were unable to secure a bid at the Ontario Qualifiers or Easterns.
So, Theo, let me ask you an important question.
Oh, here we go.
Both teams have custom track pants on. Which one do you like more? Do you like Sherbrooke's green and yellow, or do you prefer Tula's classic navy blue and white?
Hey, I have a lot of blue in my closet, but I might want to venture out to the green and yellow is what I'm saying, because that's looking pretty cool right now, especially with the green-yellow hats they got on, too.
We can see some of the Sherbrooke guys are losing their hats as they start to take things seriously.
Hey, 2 players going to the deep space for them, O'Connor and Deschambault. And now they're looking for Deschambault again. Pile of players there. 97 goes up with the right hand. And just like the last point, he's going to catch the huck and flip it to Xavier Blanchette. Carbon copy of the last one.
That was Louis Simon Fournier who did that hockey assist, that big huck down the field.
And that's what you're saying about the stats. He didn't get on the stats.
Exactly. Well, unless you're counting hockey assists. He wanted to put it up earlier, you could see, but we had, as Theo mentioned, 2 guys going deep. So they reset it to him on the sideline, and he put it up again to his favorite receiver, David Deschambault, who's just invincible in the air right now. Tula have not figured that one out.
I don't know if they can. He's so tall. What is he like? What do you think he is? 6'5"?
I don't know. He's growing by the minute. I can tell you that much. Theo.
He might be 6'7".
Theo, in the last game, we had some notes from the audience that they want you to stop with the Gen Z brain rot. Let's be careful with language like that. Theo, if you're Tula's coach, what are you saying? What are you going to try and do to stop David Deschambault?
You might have to back him. Because he's on this point right now, it looks like, as well. So Leonard is the main polar for them, and they seem to have a lot of D-line players. .65 Sherbrooke right now, as if you're just tuning in. 1 break being the factor right now. Sherbrooke will start on offense here in the second half. Zoo finding Segal. Vertical stack set from Toronto as Ojan Lee bursts out of the stack. Marked by Papa Dimitriou. Segal up the line, working against Waugh. Waugh's drawn that matchup a few times now. Segal having to deal with the raised hands of Waugh, but he's going to flip it over to Zhang. Zhu. Zhang has spun his defender, not in sight, but Zhu didn't hit him, and eventually does now. Adam Mong. Resets it to Eric Zhang. End zone set here from Toronto. Segal has Zhu going to the open side, and that will be easy. Does a little spike there from Zhu to punctuate that point. They're fired up. 6-all, the score line here, and I don't know if we're going to get to the halftime cap the way this is going.
Yeah, that's right. Halftime is in 5 minutes, or it's the first team to get 2 more points because the half is also at 8. Correct, Theo?
That is correct. That we know for sure. As Michael Kakusha going to call a timeout for Toronto. I suspect a power line going to come on. With the timeout, we're going to take a break as well and be right back for more first half action. Toronto and Sherbrooke deadlocked at 6s. Back for some first half action here. Sherbrooke, Toronto pulling on defense and pulling out all the stops right now because they basically got a power line on the field. Segal has stepped up from the offensive line. Same thing with Alfred Zoo and David Ramsey joining kind of a standard D line for them. And Sherbrooke kind of standard offensive set for this grouping. Christian's out on the field as an example of that. William Moran. I don't see, I know who you're pointing out. Deschambault, correct? You don't see him on the field, do you?
He's not on the field. I'm sure Tula would have talked about that, but he's not here. So it frees up a little bit of height here by this Tula.
Vigneault Lecomte is still out there. He's going to be marked by Spagnola, who's crossed over from the O-line as well. Gabriel Potvin finding Christian. There's a bunch of pushing and shoving happening between William Moran and David Young. That's off onto the reset space that they're kind of tangling up. And droplets have started to come as we back into our commentary tent here, Sanjay. So the weather taking a turn for the worse after we had praised how good the weather was.
Not a lot of gloves on hands here on this field. Maybe there's more chalk than what I'm seeing, but you're going to have to see that chalk come out as it gets more wet as this game progresses.
Yeah, and especially in the summer when it gets really hot, I see the chalk out there. We talked about the last broadcast, but coach is wearing it like they're rock climbing out here, and it makes sense, right? Because the moisture definitely affects, if you have wet hands, you're not going to be able to grip the disc in the same way, especially on your flick hucks. I think that's where it impacts it the most.
That's definitely where I notice it.
Yeah, nice inside shot to Fournier. Louis Simon finding Moran. Segal really poaching off, trying to make things difficult. Vigneault Lecomte finding Fournier power position. Fournier gonna go inside backhand, and it's swatted away by Segal. Fi was calling for that for a while, and that throw maybe a little too late.
Sherbrooke wanted to huck that deep, that entire possession, but Tula did a really good job of switching off their last man and making it hard for Tula to find any open breaks. The only way they got that one up was to do a break throw after Tula overcommitted to that open side.
Segal looking deep. Ramsey gonna have to chase it down. Gets it blocked by Christian. I am curious why Deschambault is not on the field, because he's been a titan in the deep space for Sherbrooke. Why is he not out there?
Couldn't tell you, Theo.
I want to know. I need the coaches to let me know, because he's been a real big key for this offense. Just puts a lot of stress on Toronto's defensive grouping because of his height. Alfred Zoo gonna bat that one down to the cheers of the Toronto crowd on the far side. O'Connor on the mark of Zoo. Zoo gonna call a timeout, the second one for Toronto.
They do get to this half, so that's both of Tula's timeouts for this half. That's fine. Half is going to happen any minute now. It's probably going to be a timed half, not a point half.
Well, the team that scores will be at 7, so they'll add +1. So I think it will still be 8. Correct?
I guess that's right.
Maybe we could get an observer here to tell us, but
could be nice.
We would do our best observer impression here. So we got 4 of them out on the field, and they're going to huddle out there too.
I think they're discussing the same thing we are right now, trying to figure out.
We actually have an observer near us right now, Alan Baggish. So Alan, maybe he can confirm if there actually is, and we're going to put him on the mic right now. He doesn't even know it yet. But Alan, can you confirm what we said? Is that true? The next one would be at 7, so then the half would be at 8, regardless of the time half. Correct?
That's correct. It's 6-6. You finish the point, add 1 to the highest score, so the highest score is going to be 7, no matter who scores.
Okay, so half is at 8.
That is correct.
And let's say this could happen. This next 2 points would go for 20 minutes. The half would still be at 8, correct?
That's correct. We're going to play until we get to 8, no matter what.
All right, so we turn our eyes back to the action. Thank you, Alan Baggish, guest commentator for us, as Tula has to set their stack with Segal at the front, Zoo with the disc, and Cecil Chung his reset. And let's see what Sherbrooke decides to do defensively here, Sanjay. As Fournier has been a big-time handler for them. He's going to be the handler defender, and Christian hovering in the reset space.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Theo. This would be a break point for Tula, right?
This would be their first break of the game because they have not had one just yet. Cecil Chung really good in that give and go, working with Zoo, and now Segal has put his self back into the reset space.
Sherbrooke are pushing that front line a lot. There's a decent amount of space kind of right just behind them before that last back for Sherbrooke. David Ramsey doing his best to spread the field here for Tula.
Good communication from Segal telling the disc were to go here. A Spagnolo now, power position. Couple players out wide for Tula. Segal gonna hit him with the blade. Finding David Ramsey for the break. So they call the power line, and it works out as we are back on serve. 4th assist for Segal.
Tula probably had a Kit Kat just before that point. You know why?
Oh no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
That was a break.
Hey, you talk about Gen Z brain rot. I guess that's not brain rot.
Yeah, it's not really Gen Z or brain rot. I don't know if Gen Z's even eat chocolate anymore.
So let's take a look at Sherbrooke right now here, Sanjay, because I see Blanchette on the field again. And look who's out there. Deschambault, Vignon, Lecomte. You know he's going to be on the field. Phi, who was the one they were looking for deep. Christian back on the field. Fournier as well. So heavy hitters coming out for Sherbrooke.
Definitely a power line here for Sherbrooke. They want to take half. They know that they're going to get possession coming out of half, so they would love to be able to take this point and continue on with that momentum that they're going to have. Tula is not doing the same thing. They are resting a couple guys. They're still putting out a very strong line.
But no O-line crossovers. And Cecil Chung, I don't know if he's going to be on the field. He's kneeling down right now talking to the line. So I'm kind of curious that they made that decision because they had power lined a couple points before, and now they're deciding to maybe go with a kind of a secondary D grouping here. No one on that last point was out on the field, and certainly maybe they feel like, hey, we're gonna trust our O to take half here. This is a pretty big opportunity here for Sherbrooke. They do need to get the hold so they're not down a break heading into the second half with time not being on their side. Fournier looking deep for Blanchette. That's put on a rope. And Blanchette's going to take a huge shove from Gomez.
Looks like Blanchette called a foul. Gomez agrees with the foul, which would make it a goal.
Yeah, that should be a goal. That should be a goal.
Risky push there by Gomez. Could have really hurt him, but everything turned out fine. That is halftime, Theo. Sherbrooke's up. Oh,
7-0.
My bad. So it's 7-all. The next point is halftime. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Hey, you're getting excited, though. I get it. Fournier opening up the arm there.
And we were talking about this before the game, Theo. This is a big game for both teams to make it Div 1. Tula is consistently a Div 1 team. For them not to make it would be a big deal. And as we also mentioned, this would be Sherbrooke's first ever time making it 3 years in a row. So both teams really wants to win this game.
Yeah, legacy's on the line like we talked about here.
We know that the Sherbrooke coach said that he had a deep squad and he was going to try and show that depth at least during the first half of this game. It's going to be interesting to see who he splits on this line. And it looks like he's rotating the squad just a little bit just to end this half.
Vignon Lecomte is out there for Sherbrooke, so we do see that.
Looks like Coach CUUC of Tula had a word to speak with the observers here.
Hey, it's like you've seen other sports. You try to like game the refs a little bit. I've seen that. So Adam Leonard, been the main polar for Sherbrooke, is going to be out there once again. Standard offensive line here for Tula. And we have, I won't say what kind of point because I know the Europeans like to say this is a certain point. I won't say it out loud. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I don't know, Theo.
I won't even say it. It starts with a G, but I'm not going to say it because I don't like that definition of this point here. So this is the point for half.
You know what we're talking about at home, fans. Please put it in the chat. So
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Segal. Who's going to draw that matchup? It's going to be Leonard right now. It used to be Alexi Waugh. Loran taking on Ojin Lee. Reset to Zoo. Remember, Toronto starting on offense to begin this game. One break each puts this game back on serve here. Segal up the line. Little blade finding Lee. Lee going to be calm with the disc. Thought about finding his hound teammate or former teammate in Ramsey. Zoo. Injury called before that throw was taking place. That was Felix Laurent going down. Jacob Liu told to come on the field. He said he was not ready. Adam Mong going to come out the field for Cecil Chung. And I always like this strategy. When another player comes on, Sherbrooke brings on a powerhouse at Elliott Christian. It's important to be able to do that for the other team as well. You want to get a fresh player on.
What do you think about the fact that Jacob just said he wasn't ready to come on?
Hey, you got to be ready. You got to be ready out here. I also want to quickly retract something I said earlier. I said Ojin Lee and David Ramsey had played on Hound together. That is incorrect. Ramsey is playing for GT this summer, so Ramsey has played for Hound in the past, but Lee was not on Hound at the time. So got to fact check myself out here as we're back into action. Zhu looking for Segal. Finding Zhang. Zhang marked by Wah. Wah loves to really mark with the hands up high, which maybe leads him to susceptible to these around breaks. Segal with the hammer. Christian denies it, comes off the bench and gets the block.
Great read by Christian. It felt like he knew that Arab wanted to throw that because that was a great throw by Segal there. Really flat dot, but Christian knew what was going to come.
I'm just saying, I know it's raining out here, but the action is coming fast and furious, and we thank you for tuning in at home because this has been a really exciting game for the A bracket final. I know there's another one going on the other side too, so maybe go dual screen for you, but this has been a game to watch as the rain's starting to really come down here. Leonard finding Christian, give and go. Who's going to go deep? It's Vigneault Lecomte, and he is going to have the disc sent to him. Zhu bats it away, and he might be hurt. He might be hurt.
Zhu is hurt. He is going down an injury here. It looks like it might be a cramp, so that's good news if it is. But that's one of the first times I've seen Tula come out on top in a 50-50 deep shot from Sherbrooke.
I thought Vigneault Lecomte was going to get there. Sorry to cut you off.
Me too. But one thing we know about Zhu is he can get up big. Oh, it looks like we have a third party running on the field, making sure that Alfred Zhu is okay.
I thought the taller Jerome might have had some time to get there as well with some speed.
Looks kind of serious on the field. We're going to come back just after a short break.
Toronto's still on offense here. This is the offensive point. Thank you for tuning in. This is the point for half. 7's the scoreline here. Theo Wan with Sanjay Parker.
Alfred Zhu is still on the field. He did not take it off. It looks like he was just a cramp. Oh, he is off the field.
He is off the field
my
because
mistake.
in his place has come David Young. So the lefty's out now. He's throwing that inside to Ramsey. And Cecil Chung had also come in for an injury sub, remember? And that also Elliott Christian came in and got the block. So a few subs so far for both sides. Christian hunting for it, but Chung is there. Segal threw the hammer that did not work out. So see if he's going to be a bit calmer. He's going to reset it to Lee. Segal, high stall, going big around. Blanchette goes horizontal for the block. Xavier Blanchette getting himself on the highlight reel. Huge block.
Ascended to that block.
Hey, great ascension, ascended. You're right.
That was going to be a tough grab by David Ramsey anyways, just to toe that into that line. Great job by David Blanchette to give him no shot there.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go to wall right away. He was going, has a few inches there on Zhang. Christian thought about it as well, but Vigneault and Lecomte going to keep it going with Christian. Blanchette now. Stars out on the field for Sherbrooke, including Leonard. A little bit of a messy stack here for Sherbrooke as Leonard looking for Blanchette, who will get the bookends for the break for Sherbrooke as they take half.
You could see David Ramsey know as soon as that disc went up, he didn't feel like he had a shot to get there, and he just stopped. Tough for David Ramsey. But Tula's coming off. They look a little distraught, but I really feel like they should be coming off in a good mindset. They lost a break just at the end, but they earned a break, and that was the first break Sherbrooke's lost in 2 games.
So Sherbrooke going into this halftime with the lead. Teams are going to huddle up and get ready for the second half. We're going to do the same. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied. To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 Second half action coming at you at the Friday qualifiers. This is the best day of the year, in my opinion. It's a chance to get a spot into Division 1, which starts tomorrow here at the 2025 Canadian University Ultimate Championships. Theo on here with Sanjay Parker. Sanjay, Sherbrooke up 8-7 right now. They're going to start on offense. What's been the key to them to get this lead so far?
They've had really patient offense that hasn't turned over much at all. And when they have, I think they've only conceded one break this whole game. But the real difference maker is when they're shooting it deep, Tula just doesn't have an answer. I think they've won maybe 1 out of 5 shots deep, and then as soon as Sherbrooke has it, they just have the momentum, and they're just dishing it in. If Tula wants to win this game, they've got to get an answer to David Deschambault and a couple of the other Sherbrooke guys who are just dominating in that end zone. We saw Alfred Zhu get it just in that last possession there just before half, and that was great. He then came off injured, so we'll see if he's playing the second half. That's what I'm seeing here from Sherbrooke. Their defense is solid, but it's not the defense that's making or breaking this game. There being very few break points throughout this whole game.
Yeah, Sherbrooke has 2, Toronto has 1. You mentioned Deschambault, but they've gotten contributions up and down. Xavier Blanchette had that crazy layout block right in front of the camera there. Elliot Christian's been involved. Adam Leonard threw that score just now.
I was going to bring up Elliot Christian. I think he's the kind of player on the Sherbrooke team that has a lot of flashy cutters. He's the guy who's making it tick over, keeping the possession, making the smart play. He's not throwing a lot of throws that he doesn't think that Sherbrooke's going to come down to. And at an under 20 level, that's tricky to do, and that's why he made the Team Canada team.
That is true, and he's buzzing around. He wanted that first disc, but they got a little poach zone, or poachiness happening with the handler defenders. And this is a standard D-line for Tula. No crossovers here. Winston Chang providing some defensive coverage, taking away any deep throws. Now the disc in the hands of Fanny Morin. Vigneault Lecomte has Deschambault going deep. This one's a little too far, a little too zippy, as Jasper Garrick was the one defending. You got a big cutter in Deschambault. You just got to throw it up. You can't be just ripping lasers out here.
I always ask my receivers, Theo, do you want me to float it or do you want me to zip it to you? And David Deschambault is definitely a floater.
Victor Fay going to come off the field, and that's going to bring in Xavier Blanchette. Segal going to come off of an injury sub as well. So he's going to provide some offensive firepower here, number 7. And number 3, that's 2 stars coming on the field for both sides.
Really hope Victor Fay is okay there. Was that an injury sub, or is he coming off of a Tula injury sub? Did you see?
I did not see that.
Well,
but he
really
came
hope
off the
Victor
field,
Fay is
yeah.
okay. Hopefully he comes back into this game.
He might have been asked to come off as well, because we saw that with Tula as well when the other team took a sub. They did one as well. Segal looking around for Cecil Chung. Cloutier the mark. Excuse me, that's Fournier was on the mark. Chung. Little reset with Chang. See the Sherbrooke sidelines getting loud here, trying to usher their team to a block. Christian was hunting for it. Round to Chung. Segal working against Vigneault Lecomte. Segal firing to Chang. Chang going with the hammer. And it's going to work out. Instant Chang, he's pointing at the camera. He's loving it. Huge throw. Finding David Young.
That was a really great throw. I saw Sherbrooke a couple times on that point, double teaming Segal so he couldn't get the disc. So it was great to see Shang come up and make that big throw. I also want to give a shout out to David there, who caught it in the end zone. David Young, who looked confident the entire time, even when there was pressure coming on to him. He's solid. He's a very quiet, underspoken player, but he will come down with the big play in the end zone when he needs to.
Yeah, and I was proven wrong there, because I said, I was wondering why they didn't put out kind of a D1, like a crossover with some O players, but that line gets it done, and now that allows them some rest, because Ojin Lee and David Ramsey are coming on the field. Same thing with Segal, so that was a smart move there. I don't see Alfred Zhu. I'm trying to get an eye on him, Sanjay. I know both of us are, because he came down with injury, and he's been an important piece. He's walking off to the sideline there, looking kind of gingerly.
He looks like he's limping a little bit. I really hope it's nothing serious. this is not a game where a coach would be like, hey, let's save you for the rest of this weekend. This is the make or break game for this. So if he's not playing, that means he's not feeling good.
And for Sherbrooke, a lot of the same players. Blanchette's out there, and Victor Fye is on the field. Christian Vigneault-Lecomte is out there as well, and Deschambault.
Big pull there by Tula.
Their big handler, Louis Simon Fournier. And that's Fournier with it now. Looking for Deschambault. A couple Tula players will not get there. Deschambault has Blanchette right away. And he's going to play it calm. He doesn't need to rush it, right? Got some players open like Victor Fye. Resets to Vigneault-Lecomte. Segal sagging off Blanchette here as he finds a reset to Fournier. Blanchette, a lot of fakes. Finding Christian working against Gomez. Looking like a little bit of a dominator here. Blanchette. Going with a big backhand around. That was hanging for a bit. Vigneault-Lecomte not happy with the contact. It's going to be a goal. Blanchette finding Vigneault-Lecomte, and they're not happy with Cheng's contact. We'll see if a card is given out.
You can see the observers immediately after they confirmed that that was in. They all rushed together to discuss how much contact there was. Theo, what do you think? Do you think that was too much contact after he scored that point?
There was some bumping towards the end, but sometimes, I'll be honest, it's not intentional. Like people are trying to stop their momentum, and they just happen to crash towards a player. So it's sometimes hard to measure intent, but I see the observers walking towards the Tula side, so I highly suspect a card's going to be given here. And Winston Cheng's going to get a card as well.
For me, I think that's fair. I think that was contact after the play that did not need to happen. He did not need to push him so hard. And what I also didn't like is he wasn't apologetic afterwards. We've seen a couple points by a couple Tula players, namely Matthew Gomez, who has had a couple rough plays this game, but has immediately been like, hey, that was my bad, I'm sorry. I didn't see that from Winston Cheng there, and I get the card.
Yeah, so we've been told by observer Jeff Peters that there's been 3 TMFs assessed to Toronto, so they will start on the reverse brick.
And what is a TMF for the viewers at home there, Theo?
Well, we might need to get Jeff Peters on the mic to explain it, but it's team misconduct foul, I've been told, correct? Third team misconduct foul.
Got it. So just saying.
Hopefully, I don't know if they heard it, so why don't you reiterate what Jeff just said then?
Each yellow card is a TMF, and after 3 of them, there's a total fine against the team, which allows them to start so close to the end zone.
Reverse brick.
If I'm the coach of Tula, I am furious. This is not the kind of mistake that we need to be making. Or
furious at your team, by the way, not the observers, correct? Is that what you're indicating? Like,
sorry?
You'd be upset at your team for
Yes. I'm upset at Tula. This is not the kind of mistake that they need to be making.
Yep.
And not only is this bad spirit, but it's also just lack of body control.
Yeah, Vigneault-Lecomte is still on the field. So is Blanchette. So heavy hitters coming out for this side. Deschambault as well, hovering in the deep space. They're in Callahan country right now, they call it. Ken Segal and Tula get out of there. Zhang.
Sherbrooke's sideline is really adding the pressure on right now. Tough for these kids. You forget that these guys are all just university students.
Zhang just high stall. And that gets knocked down. So the yardage penalty gives short field for Sherbrooke. Leonard at the controls. This could be a real turning point of this game. Leonard, Vigneault-Lecomte. He still has the disc, and he's going to call a timeout. Timeout being called there by Sherbrooke as they're up 9-8.
If Sherbrooke scored this, they would go up 2 breaks. That would be potentially the end of this game, because we've seen how solid Sherbrooke's offense is, and Tula hasn't had a lot of chances to break their offense. If you're coach of Tula right now, you know that Sherbrooke's just on that line. What are you saying to lock them down?
Hey, I'm saying let's not go poaching. I know sometimes they've been a little bit poachy. I think we just got to lock down our one-on-one matchups is what I'm saying. Is that what you're seeing out there, or are you feeling like they are being more successful in their poachy set? Like, or would you rather have them be tight right now in this end zone look?
Tula's done a great job of poaching off and sharing the load in open space. I haven't seen them do that successfully in the end zone yet. What I'm also interested in seeing is what I expect is Sherborne will work it towards this open side, the side towards the camera here potentially. And then I'll look to see how much space Tula gives their cutters on that break side, because we know Sherbrooke has the capacity to swing it around. So how honest are those Tula defenders going to be?
And it looks like they are going with, maybe they have changed it, but they're going with the flick force. So the open side is going to be on the far side of your screen here with Vigneault Lecomte working against Zhang on the mark. Spagnolo is the reset defender against Leonard. And Blanchette at the top of the stack, marked by Cecil Chung.
We also see David Ramsey at the back of the stack, marking David Deschambault. Big matchup there. David's not necessarily the tallest, but he can jump.
Yeah, two Davids or Davids going at it. Reset to Blanchette. Now they're at the brick mark. And miscommunication for Sherbrooke.
Huge turnover there by Sherbrooke. Tula called the roll, which was a switch in the front half of the time. We talked about poaching. That's a change of play. That's a poaching play, and it worked out for them. It caused confusion with Sherbrooke, and they turned it over.
That's a
game
huge
changer.
momentum.
Now, Tula must keep the disc here.
You're absolutely right. Momentum killer, because they had in the end zone and forced a really high stall throw with their zone in Callahan country, and now they're out of it. At least for now. Chung finding Zhang. Travel called.
Injury for Tula. We've got a player down. It didn't look like a contact with a Sherbrooke player. Something happened, and he's down. Looks like he's going to have to come off. That's really unfortunate there for Adam Mong. Hopefully it's not too serious, but not looking good for him. We're also seeing a zone here by Sherbrooke, really putting a lot of pressure on the handlers here for Tula.
And that pressure generated that turnover earlier as they looked for like a sky-high blade that did not work out. And if you're Sherbrooke and you end up dropping this game, Sanjay, this will be a big reason. Like, this could be the point that you look to, like, hey, we had it on the doorstep and we could not punch it in.
Adamong is off the field now, carried off by his Tula teammates. We've got his colleague back on, Asian Lee.
Ojin Lee.
Sorry, thank you so much, Theo, for the pronunciation. That's so important to us here.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I get it.
CUUC.
Zhu finding Segal. Over to Zhang. Had Lee, but instead going to go reset to Zhu. Great to see Zhu back on the field. He got that block earlier. Had not seen him since that point, and is now back on the turf here for Tula. Segal working against this zone. Vigneault Lecomte there. Papadimitriou and Blanchette in the head of this zone here for Sherbrooke. Defensive point that started on the reverse brick for Toronto as they have 3 team misconduct fouls so far. Cecil Chung, Sherbrooke going into person defense. Zhang finding Chung. Great defense from Blanchette, stopping that reset. Now they have to go inside throw. Ramsey. Reset to Zhang.
What I really liked about Tula all day is even if they get stuck on this sideline, they're not afraid to take an open throw to this open side, because they know that they're confident to swing it around the field if they get stuck here. They're not afraid about losing yards and throwing it backwards if they need to do that. And that's a tough thing to teach at this level. Credit to Coach CUUC for teaching a pretty difficult skill.
Jasper Garrett coming on for Toronto with one of their players, Alfred Zhu, coming off, and Elliot Christian coming on for Sherbrooke. So Christian's come on a couple times now as a sub. I expect to see him a lot of the way here for Sherbrooke. Segal. Going around to Zhang. Great cut from Zhang. Zhang lefty to Ojin Lee.
Ojin Lee coming on midpoint for the injured Adamong, and then he gets in. Looks like he's doing some sort of injury celebration. Hilarious. Hopefully that's in good spirit with Adam Mong and nothing too terrible.
Hey, that's your teammate, right? So with time the way it is, hard cap going to go on in 6 minutes, give or take. And this Sherbrooke team, you had it. I cannot stress enough, Sanjay, you had it. Offensive side of the field, reverse break for Tula. They throw the turnover, and you can't get that break. and now we're tied up.
We're tied up, yes, but it's Sherbrooke's offensive point here. At the end of the day, they're either going to be leading or tying as long as they keep holding their offense. And as we've seen, their offense is not going to throw it away easily. We got a bit of an injury update. Doesn't look like Adam Mogg is doing too hot. It looks like he's probably out for the rest of this game. It was great to see Alfred Zhu come on, but then he did go off again.
Yeah.
So it looks like no matter what happens with Tula this game, they might be down a couple players for the rest of this weekend. Looks like a timeout might have been called, so we're going to take a timeout ourselves. We're going to see you just back in a couple minutes. Big defensive point here for Tula. They need a break at some point if they have any hope of winning this game. Who do we have here on this D-line here, Theo?
Well, before we even say who's on the D-line here, the score is 9-9, so I had to say 9-9 out there for the audience. One of my favorite shows out there, Brooklyn 9-9, so I got to give a shout-out to that first. But for this Toronto D-line, we see Cecil Chung. I think he's offering some instruction, but this is once again a similar thing we've seen earlier where players who haven't got as much burn, like Adam Sholey or David Pan, they're out on the field. Winston Cheng did catch a break earlier. He's out there as well. But this is more or less a secondary D-line here for Tula.
I do want to give a shout-out to Eric Tang, the puller, just with that pink knee brace and that fantastic haircut, he is an icon on this field. Sherbrooke's offense with the disc. False start called here by the observer.
Man, there's a lot of calls happening on both sides right now.
Really testing our knowledge, Theo.
Yes. That's why we have Alan Baggish close to us. It's like he's like the Gene Tessitore if you watch football out here. So we got a rules expert right beside us in the booth. We love that.
So in this situation, what it meant is that it let Tula set up exactly where they want to be against this Sherbrooke offense.
Vigneault Lecomte loaded up the backhand, got Sholey to move, or Soroka, excuse me. Now it's Morin. Finding Deschambeau. Blanchette has no one on him, and neither does Morin. Under to Vigneault Lecomte. Deschambeau is going deep. Blanchette instead. Going to go for an under to Morin. And he'll receive the disc back once again as number 3, X. Finding Vigneault Lecomte, who looks at the end zone for Elliott Christian. And that's going to be another point for Sherbrooke as they're up 10-9.
Great read there by Elliott Christian. Tough toe. Tough to hold yourself back, to get that toe on the line when you have two players making so much pressure on you coming in hot.
I don't think Vigneault Lecomte's going to come off the field, number 24 for Sherbrooke. He's been on a lot of points. I'm going to see Blanchette probably out there as well. Leonard, who's been doing a lot of the pulling. Should see Christian out there, maybe Deschambeau as well. I feel like I'm playing line caller here for Sherbrooke, but that's who I'd put out there.
Well, we'll see if you and the Sherbrooke coaches are aligned in your thinking.
Yeah, Simon Martin, Malprevost, we appreciate them talking to us pregame, and they're obviously excited to be here and know they had a lot to learn from that previous matchup with Laurier. And so they had a chance to obviously see the Tula Waterloo Universe point, maybe a chance to do a little pre-scouting. But Deschambeau is out on the field for this Sherbrooke side. Looks like they actually have 8 players right now.
Can't have too many, Theo.
Yeah, they do have 8 players. Am I miscounting here, Sanjay? Or
If you could sneak another on, I'd say
I was right. I was right.
Wait and see if the other team notices. No, but for the viewers at home, you can only have 7 players on the field. We are just joking, just to clarify. I know some of the viewers that we have at home are parents and fans of these players that don't necessarily know all the rules. So hoping we can give as much instruction and indication as we are able.
Blanchette, Vigneault Lecomte is out on the field. Same thing with Leonard, Christian as well. Deschambeau, so heavy hitters. Papa Dimitriou as part of that grouping. On the mark right now is Raynel Senecal. Bigger round. It's going to be taken away by Blanchette. Blanchette looking for Christian, and he's celebrating before the goal is even caught. Second straight goal for Elliot Christian and the Sherbrooke side.
Great celebration there by Xavier Blanchette, and great poach off that around to get that block, get that interception.
So Sherbrooke calling a timeout. I believe they have no more. As the horn goes, and that means Sherbrooke wins. Hard
What
cap.
a game.
Yeah, hard cap is the way it is. So they call the timeout. Tula devastated right now, as you can see. As Sherbrooke going to take the win, they're going to call the timeout. See who they call out on the field. But huge turnover, short field for Toronto. And Sherbrooke turns it around. Blanchette throwing the around to Christian. And before Christian even had the disc in his hands, it was a fist pump celly for number 3, Xavier Blanchette.
That's what you got to do, you know, in that kind of moment. You got to start celebrating early because that's how you really get into Tula's head. What a great game, Tula, Theo. It's pretty rare we're in a situation like this where the game is over, so to speak, and yet you still have to play a point.
Yeah,
kind of an awkward point.
Do you want me to share my comments about that, or
Yeah, go ahead.
should I leave that for
space?
Should I leave that for after hours or something?
No, what are your thoughts, Theo?
Well, to me, in other sports, you have to understand. In basketball, for example, there is garbage time, right? Team's up 20 points with 2 minutes left. You put in your subs. I get that. But in ultimate, this game is solved. The game is over. Toronto cannot win because they'll be just 11-10. So I think, for injury's sake and for the rest of this tournament, that the game should effectively be over. Alan Baggish may disagree here, but he has no comment. But that's my thoughts, Sanjay. I don't know what you got over there.
It's not a very common situation that this happens. I think it's an opportunity just to play one quick point, give some of the players who haven't had a lot of touches this game.
And that's what it looks like for Toronto.
I mean, yes, but I've also seen a lot of these guys play, whereas I know there are other guys on this Tula team that haven't even touched the field really at all today. So that's what it is. Tough for Tula. We'll get to Tula in a moment, but first let's go to Sherbrooke. Sherbrooke is not the biggest school in Quebec. They've played in Div 1, but they haven't played consistently in Div 1 for a couple of years since basically pre-COVID, and now this is the third year in a row that they are here in Div 1. This is really something else, and if you look at their squad, they have a lot of players who play, local club teams in Quebec, but what I'm really seeing is that it's a lot of under 20 talent, which means that this team is just going to keep growing, and what I need to see from future years is continued talent at that level, more players getting in at that level when these guys graduate.
Inside shot. Young with the grab, the lefty working against Leonard. Leonard's still on the field. Papa Dimitriou kind of swatted it away without even looking at the disc.
Going back to Sherbrooke, how do you think their chances are to succeed for the rest of this weekend now they are in Div 1?
Hey, they got the height, so if teams can match their height, they'll be okay. But Sushan Patel, no one grabs it. Instead, it's Sherbrooke. Mathieu Wall will get the final goal, and that sort of indicates how this game went for the Toronto side as they fall to Sherbrooke 12-9. We know the game was already decided out before that last point, but if you're Sherbrooke, it's got to feel good to get it on a huck and end it the way you did, and now you head into Div 1 excited with some momentum.
It's going to be intimidating to other teams looking at the score of this game because they'll look at this Tula team and they'll recognize a lot of these names, GT, Hound, Goat, and they'll be like, this is a good Tula team. And they lost by 3 points against Sherbrooke. So if you don't know the Sherbrooke team, which a lot of the teams won't, you're going to look and be like, okay, what does Sherbrooke bring that's so scary other than uniform hats?
The uniform hats, the tracksuits, they're looking swaggy out there, and they got the win here today. And Sherbrooke, it's hard to say, like, if we talk a player of the game for them, I can't just name one, because I could say maybe Blanchette, maybe Elliot Christian, David Vignon-Lecomte. I could kind of give 3 or even more. Maybe Adam Leonard. There's a few others. Deschambeau. There was just so many that got involved here for Sherbrooke.
What I really liked about how the Sherbrooke played is they played true to their system. They weren't throwing it away. They were looking for patience, and then as soon as they could ramp it up, their speed just increased so much. I think the big thing for them moving into Div 1 is their defense has to be able to create more opportunities. They had, I guess, they had 4 break points this game. It's pretty impressive, but against better teams that they're going to face in the rest of this weekend, I need to see a bit more consistency in getting those break points. And maybe that means that some of those names you just mentioned, Deschambault, Vigneault Lecomte, Christian, Blanchette, they'll need to play more D points, and then it's, do they have the stamina to keep up for a full game? Now, I don't want to completely ignore Tula. This was a really, really tight game, and the score doesn't really give Tula the plaudits they deserve. I think Tula did a great job of keeping it competitive. They made a break against Sherbrooke, which was one of our keys of the game.
Tied it at 8 all.
One of our keys of the game. And I think this is a young Tula squad, and I'm excited to see how this team comes up in the future. But I know that Tula has high expectations for themselves, especially given their women's team. And
their women's team went undefeated this year, so they're hunting for a gold in Div 1.
So I guess the goal for the Tula Open team is now just to support women's. I'm just joking. But it'll be interesting to see how they respond from this for the rest of the weekend. It must be heartbreaking.
Tough loss, especially for the seniors. But look at Sherbrooke with their celebration now with the celly.
We talked pre-game, Theo, about how just before this game, Tula had to play a universe point game with Waterloo and how the exhaustion from that game might affect this. And we kind of saw that in this game. Just at the end, Tula just took their foot off the gas, just like maybe 1%, maybe 2%. Maybe that was the difference maker in that final goal that really shot this game up.
Yeah, and not just I think it's important to note it's not just the physical toll, but it's also emotional toll to come back, play a universe, you win, and then 20 minutes later or less, 15 minutes later, you got to go play out here against this tough Sherbrooke team. And this Sherbrooke team is the one that prevails. They rock the matching hats, they got the tracksuits, and they're going to look good heading into Div 1. For Sanjay Parker, Sarah Eady producing, Theo Wan here. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for some Div 1 action at the 2025 Canadian University Ultimate Championships.